Hello and welcome to Bryna Evaly's video guide for Garalon in Heart of Fear Looking for Raid Part 1. I'm Evaly, a monk healer.
And I'm Bryna, a monk tank.
This guide is for tanks, healers, and DPS.
Alright, so there's nothing special about this trash, just pull group of 2 at a time and AoE them down. Sometimes people will pull extra groups though, so tanks and healers be on top of that and you shouldn't wipe.
So welcome to Garalon, the last boss in Heart of Fear Looking for Raid Part 1. This is a very mobile fight. It's super heavy on raid-wide damage, so healers, you need to be using all of your healing cooldowns on CD constantly every single time they're off cooldown. As for tanks, if you're the main tank, you don't necessarily need to be hitting the boss this fight if you would prefer to focus on mechanics. Really, don't worry about your damage or threat.
As you can see, he just put pheromones on me. It's a pair of eyes above me. What that does is he focuses on whoever has pheromones and follows them around the room. You'll also be dropping these orange circles on the ground that does damage to anyone who stands them. And if you have the pheromones debuff, then it'll do extra damage to you, I think like 200%. So make sure that you get out of those as quickly as possible. Drop them generally around the perimeter of the room, so that it opens up the biggest available space for your healers and DPS. And a little pro tip, try and cut some corners if you can, because it'll keep him in the middle of the room. That's important for the DPS. You'll want to keep his legs in the middle of the room, and we'll explain that in a second. The other thing is if anyone like runs through you and you have the pheromones, they'll steal the pheromones from you, and then the boss will start following him and they'll start dropping the circles and things like that. So make sure you stay away from anyone you possibly can. If you see someone get in your path or whatever, do your best to avoid them. If they do steal it from you, just run through them a few times until you steal it back and then keep going.
So the reason that you'll want to cut some corners and make sure the boss generally stays in the center of the area is because of the ability called Crush. Now Crush does a ton of raid-wide damage in the average LFR because people stand within the purple circle. To avoid this, don't stand in the purple circle. It's right underneath the boss's body, it's pretty big, it's pretty bright, but if you put one foot in, then you're gonna hit everyone in the ring. There's no need to be there. If you're a melee DPS and you feel like you need to hit the boss, hit the legs. The legs need to go down before the body. Every single time a leg goes down, the boss will take 5% damage down. Also, his movement speed will slow down, which makes it way easier for tanks and healers and DPS to kill him faster. Easier for heals to heal, easier for tank to cut pheromones, and easier for DPS to not have to run around.
For tanks, both of you guys need to stand in the cone AoE that he puts in front of him. Any 2 people will do, but it's obviously best for both tanks to do it. If you're the pheromone tank, this can be a little tricky because you're constantly having to place the orange circles on the ground. So if you have DBM, watch when he's about to do a furious swipe, run in front of him, stand in the smoke that you'll see come out of the ground like that, and then keep going. If he doesn't hit 2 people with that furious swipe, then he'll gain a movement speed increase buff that'll keep stacking, and you'll want him as slow as possible while you're kiting him around. It makes it easier on the DPS, they don't have to move around as much, and it makes it easier on you if you're the pheromone tank because you don't have to place your circles as far apart. You can make them kind of compact and nice.
So as I mentioned earlier, this is a very mobile fight. Healers, you need to follow the tank. The tank's going to be running out of range of you just because it's what they have to do. They have to be kiting the pheromones. DPS, you're going to be keeping up with the legs if you're melee or ranged, and everyone needs to just keep up with the tank and keep up with the boss. Healers, if a DPS is lagging behind, you might have to run away from the boss and go toward the DPS. Just keep in mind that there's a ton of raid-wide damage, and it's really not that heavy on the tank part.
Bottom line, you're going to need some pretty big heals, so don't be one of those healers that queues his heals and then ends up DPSing. Please, if your queue is a healer, heal on this fight, because you need it. Place the pheromones around the room, but keep around the edge of the room, but keep his legs in the middle. And absolutely do not stand in the purple circle under him to avoid the crushes.
Thank you for watching a Garalon Heart of Fear guide. Please tell your friends if our video helped you out and check out our channel for other guides.